Hello, Mr. Myers. How are you today?
Just fine.
What brings you in today?
Just want to talk about some issues I've got.
What are the issues?
Just several different issues. Dealing with people, dealing with politics, can't sleep.
Okay. What is your business? What's your profession?
I'm a director of manufacturing for a global manufacturing company.
Okay. High stress?
Very.
Okay. So, not sleeping because of stress from work?
That's always part of it.
Okay. What about the relationships with the people at work?
Some good, some bad. As you know, I'm type A and have high expectations of a lot of people, and those I don't have a lot of appreciation for people that don't perform to the best of their abilities.
Has it been a problem in your workforce with hiring, firing people, relationships with people?
Not necessarily. On the whole, it's okay.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your background and your social class.
Background in my social class. From the beginning?
A little bit, just as much as you want to share.
Well, when I was younger, I was raised by my grandmother, my father's mother, and we lived in a little small town, and I guess you would, from a financial standpoint, maybe consider us to be on, not poor, but didn't have a lot of things. Had everything we needed, food and such, but we didn't have a telephone, we didn't have TV, we didn't have a car. Didn't need one, didn't have anywhere to go. So pretty much could walk everywhere. And then as I grew up, I got involved in sports, played sports. That kind of got me focused. Always did pretty good in school. And after that, I decided that I was going to the Navy. Went to the Navy. After I got done with my Navy, I started construction businesses, and 2 years was very successful with that.
Okay, so you start at the bottom and worked your way up, it sounds like, to the top.
Pretty much.
And you expect people to do that in your profession and around you and friends and all of that as well, correct?
Well, for me, I think it's fairly obvious that through dedication and hard work, you can succeed, and people will view you as being the better contributors to their business. And I think just as a whole, it makes you a better person.
Let's go back to the problems that we're having with not sleeping. And I know a little bit about your background now and who you are and whatnot. So the problems that you're having with is it a certain race? Is it a certain class of people? Or
I'd say if it's a certain people, I'd call them the lazy people. That's the ones I have the biggest concerns with. Lazy people and people that don't want to make a contribution. I'll say anywhere outside of the me situation where if there's not something in it for them, then they're not going to help others. And in a lot of cases, they make it about themselves, and then they don't help themselves because they're too focused on what they want, and they don't get participation or help from others.
I understand that. Okay. Do you believe that your problems are defining? I mean, what's the problem with the sleeping and all of that? Is it just an overall anxiety over? Is it just built up over the time, and you're just tired of all this, or is there one specific situation or several situations building up?
No, it just builds up over time because as you become more busy, more responsibilities, then you start having to, I'll say, watch people more. Try to do a leadership role, but the more the numbers, generally speaking, you're going to end up with at least some form of underperformer or underperformers in that, and it's always hard to get the perfect person for the perfect job, if it's possible, but as we've grown as our companies and as our business has gotten better, it's also led to a point where we have a harder time finding really good talent to fill all the positions. So that's a constant stress too. I'll say, try to lead, train, manage those people, and at the same time ensure that the company as a whole is successful in all of our endeavors, and both successful from being profitable, but also being servicing our customers and being known that we put out a very good product and that we're quality conscious and want to meet their expectations. And it's very, very difficult to get all those things to align, especially if everyone's not pulling in the same direction. So I take that more seriously than most of the general public or business people. So that creates for me a really hard time for me to have a downtime to rest, to not always constantly think about all the things that are going on in business. So unfortunately, that's been how I've been. My whole career is focused on that.
In your statement, you said those people. Who do you consider those people?
People that's not necessarily focused on the same thing. I understand people need other focuses. At times I wish I had the other focuses and I could turn to that and I'll say get the satisfaction. I do, but I just constantly am distracted with work. And there needs to be a good balance between work and play and family. And I'm all for somebody having all that. It's the ones that come to work and won't even focus on work when they're at work, or are not willing to do their share, pull their weight. They only take enough interest in their job to get their paychecks. How I kind of look at them, rather than necessarily focusing on the company being successful. And again, success is, as I described it, it's not always about the money. It has many other factors to it. If you succeed in being a good quality supplier to your customers and known to carry through on your promises, you're probably going to be financially successful. If you don't do those things, you may be financially successful, but not for long term. So it's the people that just don't, I'll say, don't view things that way. They kind of view it as, I get paid to come and do a job. I come and do as little of that job as I have to get my paycheck.
So they're just kind of skimming by in your eyes.
Yeah,
It's
it's a minimal effort, but
And what efforts have you tried to communicate to the professionals at your workplace? I mean, have you tried having a meeting or sitting them down or explaining to them that
we constantly have meetings, review meetings with all of the managers, and I travel extensively between all of our facilities and sit with the management teams at all the different locations and try to help mentor them for themselves and for them to be able to mentor their employees, to be sure they have a good understanding of, first our customers' expectations, and then of course our company's expectations, and that they're able to communicate that. First, they understand those, and then second, they can communicate those to their reports. A lot of times in companies you get too distracted and focused on making the money, and you forget about mentoring the people or maturing the people or taking the people and bringing them along ahead to make them successful. But then unfortunately you end up with employees, again, you can't get enough employees that really always have that, I'll say, focus other than just how it may concern them in their day today, and not be long-term, or they're not long-term focused about what's in the best benefit of the company for our customers to be sure that we keep the company, and then they have opportunities. So it's kind of runs parallel, but sometimes the people don't understand that, and they have a hard time communicating that. And that's, that's a lot of that is management's fault, because management doesn't always tend to deliver that message the correct way.
So your overall anxiety is you care so much about the company and the business and the people and the product, and you just really would like your employees and coworkers and managers to give what you're giving into the company.
And they probably, some of them may give as much. I'm just wired that way. I understand that. I understand they're not always going to be that way. I just want all of them to have the appreciation for that. And more importantly, whether they're 100% believers, they have to send a good message to their employees or their reports in order for the company to continue to meet its goals.
Have we tried journaling about our ideas to try and help us sleep at night? Keep a tablet by your bed so that way you're not constantly, you write it down, you think about it tomorrow.
I constantly write notes down during the day, not
at
night. I don't keep anything by my bed at night, because hopefully I sleep some. But my mind's still turning right up until I go to sleep. But it's more turning about not necessarily things. It's things I need to do. I know I need to do them. I know I have them to do. I'll wake up tomorrow. It's just that there's never enough hours in every day to accomplish all the things. And get up in the morning and you start, you got 100 things to do, and at the end of the day you got 5 done, you got 200 to do.
I understand, that's quite frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to suggest some relaxation techniques to you and try and get you to learn to relax a little bit, maybe some deep breathing, turn off all electronics before you go to bed. Like I said, write down some of your thoughts and then try stopping from thinking about work. And then when we come in the next session, we'll see if any of it's worked.
Okay.
Thank you so much.